Chosen one. Heaven itself pauses right now. The wind's quiet. The angels hold their breath, and eternity bends its ear toward your name. This is not a random moment on your screen. This is divine appointment. You have been searched for in the Spirit, marked among millions, and summoned to hear what heaven has waited for you to know. You are not an accident. You are not unseen. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. Every part of your life that felt like silence was actually sacred setup. You thought God turned away, but he was only whispering in frequencies the world couldn't hear. Every delay, every heartbreak, every unanswered prayer was shaping a warrior who would not bow to fear. And that warrior, that unstoppable, unbreakable, divine instrument is you. You have no idea how many prayers carried your name before the throne, how many times heaven intervened quietly so you could still be here today, even when you didn't feel it. Angels were shielding you, redirecting danger, preserving your destiny until your spirit was ready to awaken. That's why this moment matters so deeply, because heaven never stopped watching over you. Listen carefully. Heaven has called your name because you have reached the edge of something great. You are standing between what was and what will be. The darkness that rose against you wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal the power that already lives inside you. That's why every battle intensified when you tried to step into purpose. The enemy doesn't waste fire on the ordinary. He fears the chosen. You have walked through storms that could have shattered others. You have smiled while breaking inside. You have carried burdens in silence, believing God had forgotten. But the truth is, he was training you to hear him through thunder. You learned to recognize his voice, not in comfort, but in chaos. You learned that divine strength isn't the absence of pain, it's the ability to rise again while still bleeding. Chosen one. The heavens have seen every tear you hid from the world. You were never fighting alone, even when you felt unseen. Angels were standing guard, even when you thought it was over. Grace was reloading your destiny. You are the evidence that hell's best attempts have failed. The fact that you're still here is proof that heaven still has plans for you. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." Your waiting was never wasted. Every tear watered a seed. Every night you felt abandoned. Heaven was building endurance in your spirit. That is why you're hearing this now, not when you were comfortable, not when life was easy, but when your heart almost gave up. Because this is the moment everything shifts. God says, do not surrender. This pressure you feel is the proof that breakthrough is near. You've come too far to fall back now. There's divine oil on your scars, authority in your voice, and heavenly backing behind your next step. You are standing at the doorway of destiny, and heaven is whispering, don't stop now. Take this as your confirmation. This message didn't scroll to you by mistake. It found you because you are being called back to purpose. The spiritual realm has moved, and your obedience will activate what's already prepared. Your final battle is not meant to break you, it's meant to crown you. Before you go, pause it. Lift your head, place your hand over your heart and say, I am still chosen. Feel that truth echo through your bones. You are still here because your mission isn't finished. God hasn't changed his mind about you. He hasn't revoked his promises. You are his warrior, his vessel, his chosen one for this hour. If this message has found you in a moment of weakness, let it strengthen you. If it has reached you in tears, let it remind you that tears are liquid prayers heaven can interpret. If it met you in silence, know that silence is where God speaks the loudest. And if it met you in doubt, let it cast out fear with truth. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. And you are not finished. Heaven waits for your response. This is your divine moment. Declare it publicly. Type in the comments 777 as a prophetic act, signifying completion and divine perfection. Let heaven see your faith in motion. Like this message, if it stirred your spirit, share it to awaken another chosen one. And subscribe so that the next word heaven sends will find you again. The battle begins here, but so does your rising. You have carried more than most. Chosen one. The weight that pressed on your shoulders was never random. It was purpose wrapped in pain. Heaven trusted you with battles that would have broken others, because there was something inside you that could not be crushed. You've walked through fire and didn't lose your faith. You've cried in silence, yet your tears became the ink heaven used to write your next chapter. There were nights you thought no one saw you. You stared at the ceiling, wondering if your prayers were disappearing into the dark. But what you didn't see was the unseen angels bending low to gather your every whisper, carrying your cries before the throne. You thought you were fighting alone. But the truth is, you were never alone for a single moment. Heaven recorded every sigh, every tear, every moment you chose to stand when you could have fallen. The weight you carry, chosen one, is evidence of your assignment. You are a vessel of divine endurance. Others saw your silence and mistook it for weakness. But God saw your silence as sacred strength. Every wound has meaning. Every heartbreak carries instruction. You are not defined by what hurt you. You are refined by it. The pressure was necessary to reveal the purity of your calling. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." The world has tried to tell you to numb it, to toughen up, to stop caring. But that softness, that deep sensitivity, is proof that you still carry heaven's heart. You feel deeply because you are designed to intercede deeply. Every time your heart breaks for injustice, for pain, for lost souls, it is heaven reminding you of your mission. You were never meant to fit comfortably here. You are a messenger from another realm. The weight you feel, that constant pull in your chest, is the sign of divine assignment. The more you grow, the heavier it gets, but so does your strength. You've been chosen not just to survive the storm, but to carry light through it. The ones watching you don't know it yet, but your endurance is their roadmap. Every time you keep moving, you give permission for someone else to rise. Chosen one. You have been misunderstood because your calling isn't common. You were never designed to walk the easy road. Your path is narrow, your battles spiritual, your victories eternal. You've been set apart not to be superior, but to be surrendered, to walk with God when others walk away. The weight of glory always comes with a price, and you, beloved, have been paying it with obedience. You've been through moments that felt endless, long stretches of silence where God seemed absent. But those were your sacred classrooms. In the quiet, heaven was teaching you to listen, not just to hear. You were learning to discern God's movement when there was no visible motion. The delays you hated were really divine appointments, hidden in disguise. You've also faced battles that made you question your strength. But look back, you're still standing. Every season that should have broken you became the reason you carry power now. You are not the same person who once doubted your worth. You have grown into a spiritual warrior whose footsteps echo authority in unseen realms. Every burden has built something beautiful within you. Every trial trained your faith. Every disappointment became a doorway to deeper trust. You've been walking through refinement, not rejection. Heaven was removing what could not go with you into the next chapter. And now, even as you feel weary, you are closer than ever to the unveiling. The weight you carry is shifting from burden to blessing. The same hands that molded you in darkness are about to lift you into visibility. Every hidden act of faith, every unseen sacrifice, every whispered yes. In the middle of pain, they are about to speak louder than you ever could. So lift your eyes. Chosen one. What feels heavy now will soon feel holy. The same weight that bowed your shoulders will soon become your crown. You've been faithful with little, and heaven is preparing to trust you with much. You have not been forgotten. You have been forged. Every step you took in faith has brought you here to the edge of fulfillment. Keep walking. Even when your legs tremble, keep believing. Even when sight fails, because the same God who started your story is the one who will finish it perfectly. The weight you carry is sacred. It's the proof that heaven trusts you with the extraordinary, and when you finally see the promise unfold, you'll understand that every tear was worth it. The darkness that fights you, chosen one, has studied you since birth. It knows your patterns, your pain, your triggers, and it has tried to use them against you. But what the darkness cannot comprehend is the light you carry, a light born not of comfort, but of conquest. Every time you rose from the ashes, that light grew stronger. Every time you refused to quit, the enemy lost ground. You are not being attacked because you are weak. You are being attacked because you are effective. There is something about your presence that unsettles darkness. When you enter a room, the atmosphere shifts. When you pray, chains tremble. You may not see it, but in the unseen, your very breath is a weapon. The powers of darkness cannot comprehend why they couldn't destroy you when they had every chance to do so. It's because you were never unprotected. You were surrounded by purpose. You have to understand, this battle is not about your past, it's about your potential. Hell doesn't waste energy on the ordinary. It only fights what threatens it. The enemy sees what's inside you, the call, the mantle, the destiny, and he knows that if you ever realize your true power, his reign over certain territories will end. That is why the warfare intensified when you started waking up spiritually. The ancient words recorded in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12 declare, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." The attacks were never random, they were calculated. But what the enemy forgot is that heaven had already written your victory before the first blow was struck. You were built with divine armor, faith that cannot be stolen, hope that cannot be extinguished, and a spirit that cannot be broken. The enemy's goal was to exhaust you until you forgot who you are. Heaven's goal is to awaken you so you remember who sent you. Chosen one. You have been walking through spiritual warfare disguised as emotional chaos. The sleepless nights, the mental battles, the sudden waves of anxiety, they weren't coincidences. You've been standing on a battlefield most can't see. The reason you've felt pressure is because light and darkness have been wrestling over your territory. But here's the truth. You are not losing. You are winning. Even in silence. When you feel weak, remember, this strength is not the absence of struggle, it's the choice to stand in spite of it. Every time you said, "God, I can't, but I will try," heaven recorded it as victory. Every time you resisted the temptation to give up, you pushed darkness back another step. You are not failing, you are fighting. And that fight is holy. You may not understand why things had to break the way they did, but heaven saw the bigger picture. God allowed the storm not to sink you, but to shape you. Storms reveal what is anchored, and you, beloved, are anchored in the eternal. That's why, even after everything, you're still here, bruised maybe, but breathing, tired maybe, but chosen. Do not mistake resistance for rejection. Resistance is proof of value. If you weren't carrying something precious, the attack would have never come. You carry divine fire, and every force of darkness that senses it wants to extinguish it. But what they don't know is that your fire is fed by faith, and faith cannot be stolen, only strengthened. So, today, stand tall, even if your knees shake. Stand, even if your voice trembles. Speak, even if your heart acts. Believe, because every time you choose light over despair, you fulfill prophecy. The darkness fights hardest when it's losing its hold. That's why this season feels intense, because it's the final round before your revelation. And now, as a prophetic act of defiance against every lie that said you would fail, I want you to type these words below. I still stand. And say it boldly, and let it echo through realms unseen. When you comment those words, you are not typing to be noticed. You are declaring war in the spirit. You are announcing that your faith has outlasted your fear. You are making a public declaration that what God started in you cannot be stopped. I still stand is not just a phrase, it's a prophecy. It means the fire didn't consume you. The loss didn't define you. The betrayal didn't end you. It means grace found you. Mercy covered you. And heaven still calls your name. You are the storm the enemy never prepared for. You are the reason darkness trembles at dawn. And no matter how heavy the battle feels, remember, victory is not coming. It's already written. The war may rage, but the outcome is decided. You are still standing because heaven never let go. You remember the years that felt like silence, don't you? Chosen one, the seasons where it seemed heaven had gone quiet. You prayed, but the heavens did not reply. You knocked, and no door opened. You waited, but time itself stood still. Those were the years that taught you to listen not just with your ears, but with your spirit. They were the silent years of preparation, when God trained your heart in secret while the world thought you were forgotten. It was never punishment. It was process. The silence was not God's absence. It was His strategy. He hid you because you were not ready to be seen. He was still sculpting you, chiseling the rough edges, refining your motives, purifying your desires. The delay you resented was actually mercy, a divine pause, so that when your name would finally echo in the earth, it would carry the weight of heaven behind it. You see, chosen one. Before God ever reveals a person publicly, He refines them privately. That's what happened to you. Every disappointment, every delay, every hidden season, they were classrooms of divine development. You thought nothing was happening, but in truth, everything was. You were being stretched, humbled, molded into someone who could carry eternal purpose without collapsing under its weight. In those silent years, your prayers felt unanswered, but heaven was answering you in ways you couldn't yet perceive. God wasn't saying no, He was saying, not yet. He was aligning people, places, and timing, because when your destiny unfolds, it won't be random, it will be synchronized perfection. You will look back and realize the silence was God's language of protection. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 2. Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years, to humble and test you in order to know what was in your heart, whether or not you would keep His commands. No, you weren't just wandering, you were being led. The wilderness didn't come to destroy you, it came to define you. The lack taught you gratitude. The loneliness taught you discernment. The stillness taught you to recognize God's movement even when it's invisible. You were learning how to trust without seeing, how to praise without proof, and how to love God not just for what He gives, but for who He is. Those years in obscurity were divine training grounds. The silence stripped you of the noise of other voices so you could finally hear His. When He hid you, it wasn't rejection, it was reservation. Diamonds don't form in daylight, they form under pressure. In darkness, you were being transformed in places. No one applauded you. The world celebrates visibility, but heaven celebrates readiness. While others were being seen, you were being strengthened. You learned endurance when applause was absent. You learned faith when results were invisible. You learned to love without recognition. And that is why you will last when others fade. Because your roots are deep. Your faith wasn't built on attention. It was built on communion. It's easy to think silence means abandonment. But silence often precedes revelation. Before every major move of God comes a hush, a pause before the unveiling. You were hidden not because you were unworthy, but because you were too valuable to be exposed too soon. Heaven protects what is precious, and when God hides you, He is also healing you. The years you thought were wasted were years Heaven was using to mend what was broken. You learned the language of stillness. You learned the rhythm of divine timing. You began to see that waiting is not a delay in destiny. It is the construction zone of greatness. You were waiting, but heaven was working. You were doubting, but heaven was designing. You were breaking, but heaven was building. And now, as the silence begins to lift, you can feel something stirring, a quiet certainty that you were never lost, only prepared. Chosen one, do not despise the seasons that seemed unfruitful. They were the roots beneath the harvest. The anointing you now carry was pressed from those years of hidden faithfulness. The wisdom you speak now was born in the places where no one clapped. You did not grow in the spotlight. You grew in the shadows. And that is what makes your light so rare. So when people see your rising and call it sudden, you'll smile, because you'll know it was never sudden at all. It was silent preparation. Heaven has a way of turning obscurity into overflow in one divine moment. The silent years were not empty. They were sacred. and every second of them prepared you for what's about to unfold. This is the turning point. Chosen one, the threshold between all that has been and all that is about to come. You've been walking through shadows, holding on by faith when sight failed. But now the horizon begins to glow. The air feels different, doesn't it? The same winds that once tore against you now begin to shift behind you, carrying you forward. Heaven is realigning your path. You can feel it in your bones. Something is about to break open. The waiting, the silence, the testing, they all led you here. You've reached the moment where obedience becomes the bridge between promise and fulfillment. One act of faith can unlock what generations prayed for. In the natural, it might still look like nothing's changing, but in the spiritual, everything already has. The roots have broken through the soil. The seed that was buried in darkness is finally pushing toward light. You may feel pressure, but that's just the sound of purpose being born. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." You see, chosen one. Breakthrough doesn't arrive with noise. It often tiptoes in quietly, disguised as a small moment of obedience. The final test is never about strength, it's about surrender. God isn't asking you to fight harder, He's asking you to trust deeper. You've done enough battling. Now, it's time to believe. This is the moment when everything you've learned in the silence begins to speak. The same storms that once terrified, you will now obey your command. The same fire that once burned, you will now illuminate your path. You're not at the edge of failure. You're standing on the brink of fulfillment. But here's something the Spirit wants you to grasp. The turning point doesn't always look victorious. Sometimes it looks like exhaustion, like tears that fall into your pillow, like whispered prayers that barely escape your lips. Yet heaven hears them all, because the true mark of a turning point isn't the absence of struggle, it's the awareness that even the struggle is sacred. Your obedience is echoing through eternity. When you keep walking in faith despite fatigue, heaven records it as worship. When you choose forgiveness instead of revenge, it's not weakness, it's warfare. When you decide to love again after being broken, you are participating in the redemption story God is writing through your life. Chosen one. Your life is a letter. Heaven is still writing. Every scar is punctuation. Every setback is a comma, not a period. The story doesn't end in pain, it ends in glory. And the turning point is the moment you stop asking, "Why me?" and begin to say, "Use me." That is when destiny accelerates. If your heart has felt heavy, it's because it's being stretched to hold what's coming. When rain falls, it doesn't destroy the soil, it activates the seeds hidden within it. The tears you've cried are the same. They have been watering your promise. The ground that looked barren is about to bloom. Now, if these words are stirring something inside you, if you can sense the truth in them like a soft vibration in your spirit, take a breath and let it sink in. You've survived too much to stop now. The same God who carried you through the desert is now leading you into destiny. And as you stand on this sacred threshold, I want you to do something simple, something symbolic. Let this moment not pass like another scroll on a screen. If this message has touched your heart, if it feels like it was meant for you, then gently press that like button as a way of saying, "I receive this." Share it not as an act of routine, but as an act of revelation because someone else is standing where you once stood, praying for the same confirmation that just found you. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, not out of obligation, but to stay connected to this flow of divine reminders that keep your fire alive. Let this be more than content, let it be communion. Each word released here is a spark meant to reignite purpose in the weary. The turning point doesn't end here. It continues with your next breath, your next act of faith, your next quiet yes to God's voice. The winds have shifted. The storm that once tried to drown you has become the very current that will carry you forward. Hold your head high. Chosen one, you are crossing over. Don't run now. Chosen one, don't let fear whisper louder than faith. You are standing on the edge of something holy, and the next step you take will shift not only your story but generations after you. The urge to run is strong when the fire feels too close, when the pressure feels unbearable. But hear this truth: you were never built to flee, you were built to rise. You've come too far to retreat into shadows. The storms that once terrified you have already bowed to your endurance. The pain that tried to silence you has become the foundation of your strength. This is not the time to collapse under fear. This is the time to rise with fire in your eyes. What you face right now is not meant to crush you, it's meant to confirm you. When the waves rise, they are not your enemy, they are your elevation. God is using the very chaos around you to lift you higher. The shaking is not a sign of failure, it is the sound of chains breaking. The noise you hear in the spirit is heaven rearranging everything that tried to hold you down. The voice of God thundered in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. End quote. Chosen one. You have to understand something sacred. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is faith standing tall in the presence of it. You will never feel ready. But heaven never asked you to feel ready. Heaven asked you to move. There are moments in destiny when hesitation costs more than failure. And this is one of them. Every battle you faced was preparing you for this exact step. Every heartbreak, every rejection, every unseen war in your mind, they were forging the kind of faith that doesn't flinch. You've been trained in secret. And now heaven says, rise. You have cried enough. You have doubted enough. Now it's time to walk forward like the warrior you were anointed to be. Look at the fire around you. It doesn't mean you're failing. Fear refines gold. Fire separates the precious from the pointless. Fire doesn't destroy purpose, it reveals it. You are walking through the flames, but the flames are bowing to the presence of God within you. The same fire that once threatened you will soon testify about you. Do not run. Chosen one. The enemy hopes you will retreat before your revelation arrives. But this is the part where faith takes command. The fear that once chased you will flee from you when you take one bold step forward. You don't need to see the whole path. You only need to trust the one who lights it, one step at a time. You've been running for so long, running from your calling, from your healing, from the weight of your anointing. But what if this is the moment heaven is asking you to stop running from and start running toward peace, toward purpose, toward the fullness of who you are? The world needs what you carry. There are voices waiting for your voice, hearts waiting for your courage. When you rise, others will rise with you. The chains that break on your hands will shatter for those connected to your destiny. This is bigger than you. This is generational. And so, right here, right now, as a prophetic sign of your rising, I want you to type 888 inches, the comments. Let that number be your declaration, the symbol of new beginnings, of divine cycles ending, and heaven's renewal beginning. When you write it, you're not just typing digits, you're activating something unseen. It is your way of saying, I will not run, I will rise. Let the world scroll by, but let heaven see your stand. The number is simple, but the meaning is profound. It represents resurrection, the eternal rhythm of renewal. The moment when endings turn into awakenings. As you type it, imagine the dust falling from your wings, the fear melting off your shoulders, and the light of God breaking through your atmosphere. You were not born to escape battles, you were born to end them. The chains that held your family, your lineage, your history, they break when you decide to stand. This moment is not random. Heaven is watching. The earth is shifting, and your rising is the signal. So don't run. Chosen one, rise. Walk through the fire. Speak even when your voice shakes. Move even when your legs tremble. The same God who called you will carry you. The same fire that surrounds you will sanctify you. You were born for this exact hour, not to survive it, but to transform it. The storm has been loud, hasn't it? Chosen one, the winds have screamed your name, and the waves have crashed so fiercely that you could hardly breathe. You've looked around and seen chaos on every side, people leaving, plans collapsing, prayers seemingly unanswered. Yet through the roar of it all, there has always been another sound, softer, deeper, steady, the voice of God, calling your name through the storm. At first, it was hard to hear it. The thunder of fear, the noise of confusion, the howling of doubt all tried to drown it out. But the voice never stopped speaking. It spoke when you wept. It whispered when you raged. It sang over you when you were silent. You thought heaven was distant, but heaven was inside the storm, speaking in a language only your spirit could understand. You see, storms are not sent to destroy you, they are sent to direct you. The storm reveals what the calm concealed. It exposes what you trusted too much, and it teaches you who your anchor really is. You learned that peace isn't found in perfect conditions. Peace is found in the presence of God. The apostle reminds us in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 4, verse 39, he got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down, and it was completely calm. That same voice, chosen one, still speaks. The same authority that calmed the sea is speaking over your life right now. The storm may not end immediately, but when he speaks, your soul remembers how to rest even in the rain. The world around you may rage, but the world within you learns peace. God's voice has been your anchor, not loud, not forceful, but constant. It's the reason you didn't drown when others did. It's the reason your faith, though shaken, never shattered, because somewhere deep within you, you knew he's still with me. Even here, even now, you were never meant to master the storm. You were meant to hear the master in it. You were never meant to command the wind by your strength. You were meant to stand still until you could discern his whisper. Storms make good listeners out of stubborn hearts. And you, beloved, have learned to listen. Every trial taught you how to tune your soul to the frequency of heaven. You started recognizing God, not just in blessings, but in the breaking. You started realizing that the same hand that allowed the storm was the one guiding your ship through it. What felt like disaster was actually direction. And now, when others panic, you pose. When others curse the storm, you look for the lesson. You've learned that even chaos can be a carrier of revelation. God hides wisdom in the waves, and only those who listen closely hear it. You are one of them. That is why the enemy fears your peace, because it's proof he can no longer control you. There's a power in calm that frightens the darkness. When you refuse to be shaken, when you can smile in the middle of what should have broken you, that is when hell knows it has lost, because peace is heaven's most defiant weapon. The voice in the storm doesn't always say what you expect. Sometimes he doesn't say, "It's over." Sometimes he says, "I'm here," and that's enough. His presence is greater than any outcome. His companionship is the true miracle that the Creator of all still walks with you through the chaos you feared most. There were moments you thought you lost him, but he never lost you. He was in every breath, in every tear, in every trembling prayer. You are standing here today because his voice guided you through nights darker than you can explain. You have lived through what others would not have survived, not because you were stronger, but because you were led. Now, when new storms rise, you no longer panic the same way. You remember what he has done before. You recall how he turned roaring seas into still waters. You no longer cry, "God, where are you?" because you've learned that he was never gone. He was always beside you, whispering, "Peace, be still, Len." And so, chosen one, let this truth sink into your soul. Storms do not come to destroy you. They come to introduce you to the sound of his voice. You were refined not by fire or flood, but by revelation. You learned to trust what you could not see. You learned that his silence doesn't mean absence, and his whisper is more powerful than thunder. From now on, let the world rage if it must. Let the waves rise. You found your anchor. You found your peace. You found your God, not on the mountaintop, but in the storm. There comes a moment, chosen one, when strength fails, when your hands shake, your knees buckle, and even faith feels like a heavy cloak you can barely hold on to. You've been strong for so long, holding your world together, comforting others while you were bleeding yourself. You've smiled through storms, endured through exhaustion, and whispered prayers through tears. But now, the weight seems unbearable, and your strength feels gone. Listen closely. This is not the end of your story. This is the place where heaven steps in. You see, divine power doesn't appear when you are full. It appears when you are empty, when you've done all you can, when you've prayed every prayer and fought every battle. That's when grace enters and says, "Now let me carry it." And no, God never asked you to be invincible. He asked you to be available. You've mistaken endurance for isolation, believing you had to hold everything alone. But the truth is, you were never called to fight every battle by your own strength. There are times when heaven waits for you to let go, not because you've failed, but because grace is ready to take over. We find in the book of 2 Corinthians Chapter 12, verse 9. But he said to me, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me." The world has taught you to hide your weakness, but heaven calls it holy ground. Weakness is where dependence is born. When your strength fades, faith grows. When your arms can no longer lift the burden, that's when God's hands lift you. The power you've been praying for was never meant to be found in more effort. It's found in surrender. Think of a tree, its branches bending under the weight of rain. To the eye, it looks burdened. Yet, in that bending, it learns flexibility. And in that storm, its roots grow deeper. That is you, chosen one. You are bending, but you are not breaking. You are learning how to rely, not just resist. You've carried the idea that strength means standing tall all the time. But divine strength often looks like kneeling. It's in the tears you didn't hide, the prayers you whispered when you had no words left, the moments you told God, "I can't do this anymore," and He replied, "You don't have to." Your humanity doesn't disqualify you. It invites heaven's intervention. You have been taught to despise your breaking point, but it's there that God meets you most tenderly. He doesn't come to scold you for collapsing. He comes to wrap His arms around you and remind you that your fragility is safe with Him. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is rest. Rest isn't quitting. Rest is an act of trust. It says, "God, I know you're still working, even while I'm still." The ground doesn't stop being fertile just because the seed is resting beneath it. The pause is sacred. The stillness is part of the process. You've been carrying others, pouring from an empty cup, believing that strength is never stopping. But beloved, even Jesus rested. Even He withdrew to quiet places to be refreshed by the Father. Rest isn't rebellion, it's obedience. It's a declaration that you are not God, and that's the most freeing truth of all. When you finally exhale and let the weight fall from your shoulders, heaven inhales and fills the space you've cleared. Grace doesn't rush in through effort, it flows in through surrender. You don't need to try harder, you need to lean deeper. And when you do, something beautiful happens. You begin to feel strength rising again, not your own, but something purer, lighter, endless. It doesn't roar like thunder, it flows like quiet water, reviving what exhaustion tried to kill. The peace of God becomes your pulse. The presence of God becomes your breath. Do you feel it? That subtle warmth returning to your spirit? That flicker of hope where despair once sat? That's Him. That's the evidence that heaven has taken the weight from your hands. So if your strength feels gone, don't fight it. Let grace fill the gaps. You've proven enough, fought enough, endured enough. Now it's time to receive. This is not weakness, this is wisdom. This is the point where divine power replaces human effort. Chosen one. The world will marvel at your resilience, but heaven will rejoice over your surrender. Because when you fall into grace, you don't fall apart. You fall into the arms of the one who has carried you all along. Rest. Breathe. Let go. Let God. The strength you thought you lost is about to return, not as your own, but as His within you. The greatest battle you've ever faced, chosen one, has never been around you. It has always been within you. The war in your mind has been fierce, invisible, and relentless. The battlefield isn't made of swords and shields, but of thoughts and memories, fears and lies. You've fought enemies. No one else could see the quiet whispers that told you you're not enough. The echoes of old failures that tried to convince you your future was forfeited. But hear this truth clearly: your mind is holy ground. The moment you surrendered your life to God, heaven claimed it as territory of light. That's why darkness has fought so hard to occupy it, because whoever controls your thoughts controls your atmosphere. The enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can distract you. He doesn't need to silence your voice if he can flood it with self-doubt. This is why you've been so exhausted, not from physical battles, but from mental warfare. You've been under constant attack in your thoughts, because the enemy knows that if you ever find peace within, he loses all power around you. But today, you reclaim your mind. The Word of God declares in the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 2, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will know God's good and perfect will." The war in your mind has been long, but you're not fighting without weapons. Your thoughts may rise like waves, but the Word of God is your anchor. Scripture isn't just text, it's a sword. Every time you declare it, you slice through deception. When you speak truth aloud, you push back the darkness trying to whisper, "Otherwise." You've heard those lies, haven't you? You'll never change. You'll always be broken. You're too far gone. But none of those sentences were written in heaven's book about you. God never said you were too late, too weak, or too flawed. Those lies are the echoes of a defeated enemy still pretending to have authority. Chosen one, you have to learn to guard your gates, what you listen to, what you dwell on, what you feed your spirit. Every thought is a seed, and whatever you water will grow. You cannot plant fear daily and expect peace to bloom. You cannot meditate on failure and expect faith to flourish. That is why God is renewing your mind, not to make you smarter, but to make you stronger. When you wake up, speak light before the day can speak darkness. Say, "My mind is sound. My heart is steady. My purpose is secure." When old memories rise, meet them with truth. You are not who you were. You are being transformed daily. You are not your mistakes. You are God's masterpiece, still in progress. It's time to stop agreeing with the lies that have lived rent-free in your head. Every time you accept a lie, you build a throne for it. But every time you reject it with truth, you dethrone it. The enemy cannot rule a mind that refuses to repeat his words. And when thoughts of fear return, because they will, don't panic. Just recognize them for what they are: old weapons that no longer work. You've been trained to recognize the difference between conviction and condemnation. Conviction says, "Come higher." Condemnation says, "Stay down." Listen to the voice that lifts you, not the one that chains you. This battle is not endless. The more you walk in truth, the quieter the lies become. The more you meditate on light, the weaker the shadows grow. Eventually, what once tormented you becomes background noise that can no longer reach your heart. So today, make a declaration. Let heaven and hell both hear it. Type in the comments below, "Mind restored." Yes, those two words carry power. When you write them, you are not merely commenting, you are proclaiming ownership of your mental territory. You're declaring that anxiety no longer has access, That depression no longer dictates your days. That confusion no longer clouds your purpose. You're saying to the world and to yourself, "My mind belongs to God," and peace has moved in permanently. Remember, transformation doesn't mean perfection, it means progression. You are healing in layers, learning to think from a place of wholeness, learning to rest in divine truth rather than react to human noise. You will have moments of doubt, but you will no longer drown in them. You'll recognize them, replace them, and rise beyond them. The battle in your mind ends not when everything around you changes, but when everything within you aligns with truth, and that is happening right now. You are no longer a battlefield, you are becoming a sanctuary. Heaven's army is moving. Chosen one. You may not see the movement with your eyes, but the atmosphere around you has shifted. The unseen realm is alive, with activity, angels descending, barrier breaking, old chains turning to dust. Every prayer you whispered in exhaustion, every tear you thought went unnoticed, has been collected and carried into heaven's courts. None of it was wasted. The delay was never denial. It was divine timing aligning unseen forces in your favor. You've been walking by faith, thinking your prayers vanished into silence. But while you were waiting, heaven was working. While you were crying, heaven was constructing. What you couldn't see was that your persistence in prayer became the signal for divine deployment. Angels move not at your emotion, but at your faith. And your faith, even when small, has been shaking entire realms. The prophet Daniel once prayed for understanding, and though his answer was delayed by resistance, heaven revealed what was happening beyond sight. The same principle is true for you, as was written in the book of Daniel, chapter 10, verse 12. Do not be afraid. Daniel, since the first day, you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself. Your words were heard. You see, chosen one, heaven has been responding since the first time you prayed. Your words didn't vanish, they summoned help. Every God, please, became a command that angels obeyed. Every I trust you anyway became a trumpet sound in the spirit. And though you couldn't see it, heaven was fighting for you long before you realized there was a war. Sometimes the battle lasts because the breakthrough is big. The greater the assignment, the greater the resistance. But every clash in the unseen has been tipping in your favor. What once resisted you is now collapsing. The same mountains that stood in your way will soon serve as platforms beneath your feet. There's a sacred rhythm in heaven, a divine pulse that beats through the timelines of your destiny. It may not match the world's schedule, but it never misses. You have not been forgotten. You've been reserved for a moment such as this, when heaven itself would amplify your voice. When the armies of heaven move, the earth feels it. The coincidences you'll soon witness are not random. They are ripples from supernatural movement. People will show up at the right moment. Doors will open effortlessly. Opportunities will align like constellations. And you will know, heaven did this. But pause here. Chosen one, before you rush ahead, let gratitude become your language. Every unseen battle fought for you deserves recognition. You are standing today, not because of your strength, but because heaven carried you through what you didn't even know was coming. Let your heart be tender, and your hands lifted in thanks. Gratitude unlocks what worry cannot. It attracts favor, aligns timing, and multiplies miracles. When you thank God before the full answer arrives, you show heaven. You trust the process more than the outcome. And if these words have stirred something deep within, if you can feel that familiar warmth in your chest, that quiet confirmation that this message is speaking directly to you, then pause for a sacred second. Don't scroll away just yet. Gently, like this message, not out of habit, but as a sign of agreement, as if you're pressing your spiritual seal on this moment. Share it as you would light a candle in a dark room. Somewhere, someone is sitting in silence, thinking God forgot their prayers. This word could be the spark that tells them heaven is moving for you too. You never know whose hope will reignite because of one simple act. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, not as a follower of content, but as part of a fellowship of faith. Each message released here carries the same fire that found you today. Stay connected, so the next word heaven sends will meet you right where you need it most. Your prayers are not powerless. Your words carry weight in the unseen. Heaven's army responds not to noise, but to faith. Every time you choose to believe again, you release another wave of light into darkness. You are not fighting alone, you are fighting with legions beside you. Hold this truth close. The same God who commands angels to guard you will soon command the earth to favor you. What was delayed is being delivered. What was bound is being broken. And what was impossible yesterday is becoming reality today. Heaven's army has already gone ahead. All that's left for you is to walk forward in faith and watch what God has been preparing finally unfold. You were not born at random. Chosen one. There is a lineage behind your life, a spiritual inheritance flowing through time, written long before your first breath. What you carry didn't start with you. It began generations ago. There were prayers whispered by ancestors whose names you'll never know. Tears shed by those who believed that someone in their bloodline would one day break the chains they could not. That someone is you. You carry a generational mantle, a divine continuation of promises made long before your arrival. Heaven doesn't forget covenant. What began in the hearts of those who came before you now finds its fulfillment through your obedience. You are the answer to prayers spoken in faith by people who never lived to see the outcome. You are living proof that God keeps His word through generations. There's a reason your battles have been heavier than most. You're not just fighting for yourself, you're fighting for everyone connected to your name. The pain you felt didn't start with you. It's been echoing through your family line for decades, maybe centuries. But heaven chose you as the point of interruption. The generational patterns that once repeated fear, addiction, brokenness, rejection, they end with you. As the prophet wrote in the book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 12, your people will rebuild the ancient ruins and will raise up the age-old foundations. You will be called repairer of broken walls, restorer of streets with dwellings. Oh, that is your mantle. Chosen one, you are the restorer. You are the repairer. You are the one rebuilding what time and trauma destroyed. You've wondered why certain struggles followed you even when you prayed. It's because your fight was never just personal, it was prophetic. You were sent to confront the curses that others accepted as normal. Heaven marked you as a breaker of cycles. The attacks on your mind, your relationships, your finances, they were all connected to that mantle. The enemy knew what your victory would mean. If you rise, generations rise. If you heal, entire lineages heal. That is why your warfare felt so intense, because it was never just about your life. It was about your legacy. And you, weary as you've been, have already begun the work. Every time you forgave, instead of retaliated, you rewrote your bloodline. Every time you prayed instead of panicked, you shifted the inheritance. Every time you spoke life instead of bitterness, you planted new seeds that your children, physical or spiritual, will one day harvest. You are creating a new pattern of blessing that will outlive you. Think of it this way: your family's story has been a tapestry, woven over centuries. Some threads were dark pain, fear, silence, but then heaven reached in and added you, a thread of gold, a radiant, unbreakable color that changed the whole pattern. Now the design is transforming. Now beauty is returning where sorrow once lived. You may not feel strong enough to carry something so great, but remember, mantles are not worn by the perfect. They are carried by the willing. You don't have to understand the full picture. You just have to keep saying yes, even when you're unsure. Obedience is how mantles stay active. Each time you follow God's voice, the power of your lineage flows stronger through you. Chosen one. Take a moment to honor those who came before you, the ones who tried and failed, the ones who prayed and waited, the ones who fought without seeing the victory. You are the continuation of their hope. You are their answered prayer. Heaven chose you to complete what they began. There is beauty in the unseen partnership between generations. What they planted, you are watering. What they dreamed, you are living. What they endured, you are redeeming. This is divine succession, the relay of faith through the corridors of time. Do you see it now? You are not just an individual, you are a continuation of covenant. God doesn't just bless a person, He blesses a bloodline. You are standing in a sacred intersection between the prayers of the past and the promises of the future. And heaven is smiling, because the chain has finally been broken. You may never meet all those your life will affect, but the ripple has already begun. Somewhere, a child yet unborn will walk in peace because you chose healing. A home will be filled with love because you refused bitterness. A generation will know freedom because you dared to rise. Your mantle is not a burden, it is a bridge. It connects what was lost to what will be restored. You are not carrying the weight of your family. You are carrying the light that redeems them. And as long as you walk in truth, that light will never go out. There is a fire awakening within you. Chosen one, not the kind that destroys, but the kind that revives. It burns quietly at first, like a whisper deep in your chest, but soon it becomes a roar that cannot be silenced. This is the season where the prophetic fire inside you stirs again. The very flame that life tried to smother is being rekindled by heaven's breath. You may have thought the anointing faded, that your calling dimmed, that your voice no longer carried the same power it once did. But fire never dies in the chosen. It only waits for new oxygen. Every test you've endured, every heartbreak you survived, those were the winds sent to fan your flame back into brilliance. You are about to burn again, not in destruction, but in divine illumination. You see, prophetic fire is not just passion, it's perception. It allows you to see life through heaven's eyes, to discern what others dismiss. It's what makes your words pierce through walls of unbelief. When you speak, something happens. People may not understand it, but their spirits do, because what flows from you isn't just emotion, it's revelation. The Spirit spoke through the prophet in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 20, verse 9. But if I say, I will not mention his word or speak any more in his name, his word is in my heart like a fire shut up in my bones. I am weary of holding it in. Indeed, I cannot. And this is why you feel different. Why you can't stay still while others settle. The fire within you recognizes that time is short and destiny is calling. Every time you try to conform, the fire flares up, reminding you that you were born to be the spark that wakes others from spiritual sleep. But this fire also purifies. It doesn't just burn outward, it burns inward first. It burns away pride, fear, doubt, bitterness, everything that can't survive in glory. The more you yield to it, the more refined you become. It hurts. Yes, but it's holy pain. You're not being punished, you're being purified. God trusts you with this fire because He knows you'll use it to heal, not to harm. Prophetic fire is contagious. When you speak, others will feel it. When you pray, atmospheres shift. When you worship, chains will tremble. That's why your silence felt so heavy, because you were never meant to stay quiet. Heaven designed you to be a sound, a flame, a voice that carries revival wherever it goes. This is not a gentle spark, it's a consuming one. It burns through limitations, through shame, through the residue of your past. The same mouth that once spoke pain will now release prophecy. The same hands that once trembled in fear will now heal in faith. The same heart that once bled in silence will now burn with glory. But here's what you must understand. Fire spreads through surrender. The more you resist it, the more restless you'll become. But the moment you yield, peace floods in. Your spirit has been waiting for this moment, the moment to burn again, to speak again, to live again with divine intensity. And so, as a prophetic act of agreement, I want you to type below 999. This number symbolizes finality and fulfillment, the completion of one spiritual season and the beginning of another. When you write it, you're declaring that the old cycle of silence is finished and the fire of your calling is fully awake. You're saying, I will not dim my flame to make others comfortable. No, type 999 as your declaration that the fire will not be wasted, that your voice will be used, your gifts will be awakened, and your life will burn with divine purpose until heaven calls you home. Let it be your way of saying to the universe and to the unseen realms, I am ready to burn for what is holy. Your words will begin to carry a new weight after this. The fire in your bones will not only heal others, it will heal you. It will remind you that passion and pain can coexist when both are surrendered to purpose. You'll find yourself speaking with boldness, praying with clarity, and walking with an authority that even darkness will recognize. Chosen one, this is not just revival, it's reactivation. The fire that once flickered in you is roaring again. It's time to stop hiding your light beneath fear and let the world see what heaven has placed within you. You are not fading, you are igniting. There are moments in every calling. Chosen one, when the road narrows and you find yourself walking alone, not because you are unworthy of company, but because the places God is taking you cannot be crowded. You've noticed it, the distance that's formed between you and people you once called home. Friends who used to understand you suddenly don't. Conversations that once flowed easily now feel foreign. It's as if your spirit has outgrown spaces. Your body still remembers. It hurts, doesn't it? To love deeply, yet feel disconnected. To reach out, only to feel the quiet distance on the other end. To realize that some people were only meant to accompany you for a season, not a lifetime. But hear this. Chosen one. Rejection is never random in the hands of a sovereign God. When people leave, it is heaven's way of making space. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. The Word of God reminds us through the book of John, chapter 15, verse 2, He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. And it's easy to see loss as failure, but heaven sees it as focus. You can't carry everyone where you're going, because some hearts aren't built for your altitude. The higher you go, the thinner the air becomes, and not everyone can breathe where you're heading. That's why isolation has wrapped around you like a cloak lately. It's not rejection, it's refinement. You are being set apart for something sacred. Think of a diamond. Before it shines, it must be cut away from everything that hides its brilliance. The cutting is uncomfortable, but necessary. The diamond doesn't resist the sculptor, it yields, trusting that every strike has purpose. You, beloved, are that diamond. The loneliness you feel is not emptiness. It is the sound of heaven's chisel carving you into form. You were never meant to fit everywhere. That's why you've always felt different, even as a child. You saw things others ignored, felt things others dismissed, carried burdens that weren't yours, but were necessary for who you'd become. That sensitivity wasn't weakness, it was prophetic design. You were wired to feel deeply because you were destined to heal deeply. But healing often begins with separation. Before God releases you to restore others, He pulls you aside to restore yourself. The silence, the solitude, the unanswered calls, they are part of your sanctification. Heaven is detoxing your heart from old attachments, removing what once soothed you but no longer serves you. There's a strange beauty in loneliness when you learn to see it through divine eyes. It becomes less about absence and more about alignment. You begin to realize that solitude is not punishment, it's protection. God isolates His chosen when He's preparing to elevate them. He takes you away from noise so you can hear the next instruction clearly. And in that stillness, you start hearing Him again, not as a distant voice, but as a constant presence. You start realizing that what you lost in people, you gained in peace. That what was taken from your hand was replaced by what can only be held in your heart: clarity, strength, discernment. Chosen one. Those who misunderstood you were never meant to define you. They couldn't see the oil on your life because it wasn't for them to recognize. The anointing you carry doesn't need validation, it needs stewardship. Some will question your change. Some will misinterpret your silence. But you don't owe explanations, your fruit will speak for you. And when the time comes, God will send new people, those who speak your spiritual language, those who understand your fire without fearing it, those who can stand beside you without dimming your light. But they will arrive only after you've learned that your worth is not measured by who stays, but by who you've become in the solitude. So, if loneliness still lingers, don't curse it, bless it. It's proof that heaven trusts you with divine intimacy. The isolation you despise today is the womb of revelation. Out of it, wisdom is being born. Out of it, strength is maturing. Out of it, your next chapter is forming quietly, waiting to emerge at the right time. You are not alone. Even when you feel alone, heaven surrounds you in silence. Angels walk beside you in your solitude. The same God who allowed separation is preparing celebration. You will not stay hidden forever. This season of pruning will soon reveal a garden full of fruit. Be at peace. Chosen one. Rejection did not break you, it refined you. And the isolation you endure now will become the testimony that crowns you later. The pressure has been building, hasn't it? Chosen one, the air around you feels heavier. The days shorter. The battles closer. It's as though everything that could shake has been shaking. You've looked around and asked silently, why now? Why all at once? But this is the final attack. The enemy has sensed what's coming and is throwing everything he has left in one desperate strike. Do not mistake the intensity of this moment for defeat. It is proof that victory is near. When a storm reaches its loudest point, it's because it's losing power. The wind roars before it dies down. The same is true in the spirit. The warfare always peaks, just before the breakthrough. The darkness senses that its grip is slipping, and so it fights in frenzy. But heaven is unmoved. God has already written the ending, and it is not your destruction, it is your deliverance. The Word of God declares in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 13, Moses answered the people, do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. And those Egyptians, the old fears, the recurring failures, the repeating wounds, you will see them no more. This battle is not like the others. This one ends what the others began. It is not meant to teach you, it is meant to close a chapter. You are not going in circles anymore. You are walking through completion. The final attack always feels personal. It touches what you love most, where you feel safest, or what you thought was already secure. It tests the foundation beneath your feet. Yet what the enemy doesn't understand is that you are no longer standing on sand, you are standing on the rock. The same God who brought you through deserts and storms will not abandon you here. Sometimes the hardest part of the final battle is not the fight itself, but the silence that surrounds it. You wonder why heaven seems quiet while chaos screams. But silence doesn't mean absence, it means completion. When a test ends, the teacher stops speaking. God doesn't need to repeat instructions when you already know how to win. He is watching you. Apply what he has already taught you. Look closely, and you'll notice something sacred, even in the struggle. There is order. Doors are closing in perfect sequence. People are leaving at precise timing. Your emotions are raw, but your discernment is sharper than ever. That's the sign that you are operating in divine alignment. You are not falling apart, you are falling into position. And as painful as this pressure feels, it's birthing something holy. The final attack is always the prelude to promotion. Heaven allows the enemy to exhaust his power. So, when your victory comes, there will be no doubt about who sustained you. You will stand, not as the same person who began the war, but as one refined by it, stronger, wiser, radiant with unshakable peace. Think of how gold is purified. It must endure fire until every impurity rises to the surface. The heat doesn't destroy the gold. It reveals it. That's you. Right now, the flames are high, but they are holy. You are not being consumed, you are being crowned. The weight you feel is not oppression, it's transformation. There will come a moment, soon, when the pressure breaks, not because you forced it, but because heaven decreed it. The very forces that opposed you will run out of breath. The cycle of resistance will end. You will feel it like a shift in the air, a peace that doesn't make sense, a stillness after chaos, a knowing deep inside that it's finished. Chosen one. Do not flinch now. You are closer than you realize. You are not losing control, you are losing the limits that once defined you. This is what transition feels like: holy discomfort, divine tension, sacred stretching. The old world is collapsing, so the new one can rise. When this final attack passes, you will understand that every trial was training. You'll see that every no was direction. Every loss was protection. Every delay was alignment. You'll realize that this last strike wasn't meant to break you, but to prove that you can no longer be broken. Stand still. Breathe deeply. The storm is loud because it's ending, and when it ends, the silence that follows will not be empty, it will be filled with victory. You've endured the storm. Chosen one. And you still stand. This season marks something sacred, the crowning of endurance, not the crown of fame or achievement, but the invisible one that heaven places upon those who refused to quit when quitting was easier. You have walked through fire without losing your faith, through silence without losing your voice, through heartbreak without losing your heart. You have been faithful in the unseen, and heaven has taken note. There is a quiet glory that rests upon those who keep walking when no one watches. The world celebrates those who arrive, but heaven crowns those who endure. The crown you are receiving now is not made of gold or jewels. It is woven from perseverance, prayer, and tears that turned into strength. Every sleepless night, every whispered prayer, every hidden act of obedience has become part of that crown. As the Apostle Paul wrote in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 7 through 8, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Now there is in store the crown of righteousness. Endurance is not glamorous. It looks like trembling hands still lifted in worship. It sounds like prayers whispered through tears. It feels like walking barefoot over broken glass, yet still believing the next step will be holy ground. Endurance is love choosing to keep loving, faith choosing to keep trusting, hope choosing to keep shining when the night refuses to end. And you, chosen one, have done all of that. Heaven watched when no one else did. The moments you thought were invisible were immortalized in eternity. You may not have heard applause, but the angels did. You may not have received validation, but heaven called your name in admiration. You've learned that endurance isn't about surviving the storm, it's about worshiping through it. It's about standing still when every voice tells you to sit down. It's about knowing that what God promised doesn't expire just because it takes time. The crown you wear now isn't given to the fastest or the strongest, but to the steadfast, those who don't run ahead of God and don't run away from Him either. Think of a mountain climber. The peak always looks distant, and the air gets thinner the higher you go. But those who endure learn to breathe differently. They take shorter steps but deeper breaths. That's what you've learned. 2. To move with patience. To breathe with purpose. To trust the climb, even when the summit is hidden in clouds. You carry that wisdom now. You know that the process is sacred, that patience is power, that every delay carries meaning. You understand what many never will, that endurance is not waiting passively, but standing faithfully until God's timing unfolds. You've been tested by time, and you've passed. And if these words are resonating with you, if something inside you whispers, "This is me," take a breath and honor that truth. Don't rush past it. This is your moment of acknowledgement. You are wearing a crown that few ever earn, and you didn't earn it through ease, but through faithfulness. So before you go, I want to ask something small, something sacred. If this message feels like it was written for your soul, gently like this, post, not as a habit, but as a symbol of gratitude. Let it be your quiet nod to heaven. I receive my crown. Then share it, because someone somewhere is still climbing, still crying, still wondering if they'll make it. You might be the sign that keeps them from giving up. Sometimes a single message becomes a lifeline, and your act of sharing could be the light someone needs tonight. And if you haven't yet, subscribe, not just to follow, but to stay connected to this stream of reminders that pour life back into weary souls. These words are more than content. They are living water for those walking through deserts. Stay close to the source, so the next wave of truth finds you again when you need it most. Finally, before you leave this sacred space, take a moment in the comments and write from your spirit a sentence, a prayer, a declaration, maybe just, "I'm still standing." Let it be your victory cry, your testimony in writing, because endurance deserves to be remembered. The crown of endurance is not placed upon your head for show, it's embedded in your spirit. You'll feel it every time peace calms you faster, every time hope rises sooner, every time fear shrinks quicker. You are no longer merely surviving. You are reigning quietly, humbly, gloriously. There comes a moment, chosen one, when everything that once burned now glows, when the ashes of your past no longer sting, but shimmer. You've walked through the fire, and though it left its mark, you no longer feel the heat. This is the season of rising, not as who you were, but as who you have become. The refining is complete. The breaking has birthed brilliance. You are stepping out of the ruins with authority that only survivors carry. For so long, you saw your scars as evidence of failure, as reminders of what was taken from you. But now, heaven reveals their purpose. They are not symbols of defeat, they are signatures of deliverance. Each scar speaks of a battle won, a lesson learned, a promise kept. You are no longer defined by what you lost, but by what you gained through endurance. There is something unexplainably holy about those who have walked through fire and lived. They carry a stillness that can calm storms, a depth that cannot be shaken. You have become one of them. Your eyes see differently now, not through the lens of pain, but through the wisdom of survival. You no longer flinch at the flames. You understand that what once threatened you has already been conquered. The prophet Isaiah wrote in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 3, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, a garment of praise. When you look back, you'll see that nothing was wasted. Every season of pain was soil for purpose. Every tear was water for growth. Every heartbreak softened your spirit until it was moldable in God's hands. The world told you that brokenness disqualified you, but heaven said it made you usable. You are no longer a vessel cracked by sorrow. You are one reforged by glory. You have risen from ashes that once whispered, "You won't make it." You have risen not by your own strength, but by divine breath. Like the phoenix of the Spirit, you emerge radiant, no longer fragile, but formidable. The fire that was meant to destroy you has become your identity, purified, unshakable, untouchable. Do you feel it? That quiet power humming in your chest? That's resurrection power. It's not loud, not boastful. It's steady, ancient, eternal. It's the same power that rolled away the stone, the same power that turned graves into gardens. It lives in you now, not as a memory, but as a mantle. The world will soon see the evidence of what you endured in silence. They'll see peace where there should have been bitterness. They'll hear joy where there should have been grief. They'll watch you walk in freedom where others expected you to fall. But only you and heaven will know the cost. And that's the beauty of it. Your rising doesn't need to be explained. It only needs to be witnessed. There's a stillness in your soul now, a balance between humility and holy confidence. You don't need to defend your transformation. Your light will speak for itself. You are not who you were last year, last season, last heartbreak. The pain stripped away what was temporary and revealed what was eternal. You've been through a furnace few could survive. And instead of bitterness, you came out burning brighter. You have become light that cannot be hidden, a walking testimony that endurance and grace can coexist. You may still feel the weight of yesterday at times, but it no longer defines you. It reminds you. It shapes how gently you walk, how deeply you love, how fiercely you protect peace. The rise from ashes is not about revenge or proving others wrong. It's about revealing God's rightness. It's the moment heaven shows what redemption truly looks like. Not perfection, but transformation. You were once the broken vessel, now you're the beacon. And as you rise, you will find yourself speaking differently, walking differently, even breathing differently. The same hands that trembled now create. The same heart that ached now ministers. The same eyes that once wept now recognize miracles in the mundane. You are not trying to rebuild the old anymore. You are building something entirely new. Chosen one. This is the power of resurrection, not that you escaped the fire, but that you walked through it and came out carrying it. You are not just alive, you are aflame with divine purpose. The ashes no longer define you. They adorn you. They tell the world that even death itself could not silence the song heaven placed in your soul. You have risen beautiful, whole, and unstoppable. And now, chosen one, the day has come when heaven calls you victor. The long battle has reached its end. The storms that once surrounded you have quieted, and the winds that once resisted you now carry your name as a song. You stand on the battlefield of your life, not as a survivor clinging to breath, but as a conqueror crowned with peace. The armor that once felt too heavy now fits perfectly. Every scar glows faintly in the light of dawn. Proof that the war was real, but so is your victory. You have walked through shadow and flame, through silence and sorrow, through the kind of nights that test the soul. And yet, even in the deepest darkness. You never stopped moving. Heaven watched you crawl when you could not walk, whisper when you could not shout, believe when you could not see. You did not know it then, but every trembling step was turning the tide. Each act of faith small, yes, yet unseen, was rewriting your destiny in heaven's ink. Victory, you see, doesn't always arrive with trumpets. Sometimes it arrives as peace after panic, as stillness after struggle, as lightness after years of heaviness. It is not loud, it is lasting. It's the realization that the war that once defined you no longer dictates you. The battlefield has become sacred ground, and you, beloved, are its living monument. The psalmist wrote in the book of Psalms, chapter 126, verse 5 through 6, "Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. Those who go out weeping, carrying seed to sow, will return with songs of joy, carrying sheaves with them." And there is a gentleness in those who have truly overcome. They no longer see life as a competition but as a calling. You've learned that the greatest triumph isn't defeating others, it's defeating the darkness within yourself. And you have done that. The fear that once ruled your nights has bowed. The shame that once haunted your steps has fled. The doubt that once whispered, "You can't," now stands silent at your feet. The battlefield around you is quiet now. The dust is settling. The sunlight touches what was once chaos. And in that light, you see how every wound became a window, every loss a lesson, every pain a prophecy fulfilled. What the enemy meant for harm has turned to harmony. The fragments of your past no longer cut you. They reflect the light of who you've become. This is what heaven meant when it called you chosen, not perfect, but purified, not untouched, but transformed. You have become what angels admire, a human heart that kept believing through the fire. Your faith is no longer fragile, it is forged. Your voice no longer trembles, it carries authority born from endurance. You have discovered that glory is not in avoiding pain, but in allowing God to turn it into purpose. The crown on your head is not made of metal or jewels, it is made of memory and mercy. Every victory in your life is embedded in it. The moment you chose forgiveness over anger, love over bitterness, trust over despair. Each gem in that invisible crown represents a yes whispered to heaven when you had every reason to say no. Now, as the heavens look down, they do not see the battle-scarred warrior, they see the completed masterpiece. You have become the reflection of divine resilience. The glory that rests on you is quiet, but it is unmistakable. It is the kind that does not fade. Because it was never earned, it was bestowed. You stand, not as one who merely endured, but as one who embodies victory. The war was fierce, yes, but it could not break what was built on eternal promise. The gates of darkness tried and failed. The weapons formed, but none prospered. The lies were loud, but truth spoke louder. Chosen one, lift your gaze. The battlefield behind you has become your testimony. The silence before you has become your peace. The crown above you is proof that heaven finishes what it starts. You are no longer the wounded, you are the witness. You are no longer the one being fought for, you are the one fighting for others now. Heaven calls your name, not as a servant crawling from the dust, but as a victor standing in light. This is not just the end of a war, It is the beginning of your reign in peace. You are crowned, chosen, and unshakable, marked forever by victory that cannot be taken, only testified. The battle is over. The song of triumph begins. And now, beloved, chosen one, breathe. The story has come full circle. You began this journey weary and uncertain, carrying the weight of battles that felt endless, but you end it standing in the quiet glow of victory. Heaven has watched your rising, and the earth has felt your transformation. The same storms that once tested you now testify about you. You have become light, strength, and peace, the living evidence that God still fulfills every promise spoken in silence. Let this moment be sacred. Don't rush from it. Let it settle deep within your spirit like sunlight after rain. You have completed the journey, but the message lives on through you, through your words, through every heart your story will touch. You are not at an ending, you are at the beginning of something divine. And if these words have stirred your soul, if they found you at just the right time, pause and honor what heaven is doing in you. Gently like this message as a simple act of gratitude, not to me, but to God, for bringing you this far. Share it with someone who needs a reminder that their story isn't over yet, that the same grace that carried you will carry them too. Then take a moment in the comments. Write what your heart feels right now. Maybe just a few words. I receive this peace. Your declaration may be the seed of someone else's healing. And if you haven't yet, subscribe not as a follower of content, but as part of a family of faith that keeps growing together in light, courage, and truth. Stay connected, because heaven always has more to say. And the next word might be the one that changes everything for you. You are crowned, chosen, and unstoppable.